Social Security is the ultimate safety net. For millions of Americans, it is literally the cornerstone of retirement. But if you've been reading any of the headlines lately, it's super easy to start panicking about Social Security and where it's going. What is going on? Is it really going to be depleted by 2035, 2032, whatever number you've read? Well, today we are going to get into this and really look at what's going on with Social Security. We're going to cut through the noise. There's not going to be a political hot take here. I am not going to panic monger, I promise. We are just going to get into the raw mechanics. We're going to look at how Social Security started, how it works, and then go into the challenges it's facing and maybe some of the solutions that are out there. So, if that sounds good to you, stick around. That is our topic for today. Before we jump into it, I just want to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Lisa. I'm a financial advisor. I have been for over 15 years, and I help people get to financial freedom as quickly as possible. And as I work with people, we go through common mistakes and try to avoid them so that they can get to their goals faster. Okay, so in order to understand where Social Security is going and how to maybe fix it, we've got to take a look at how it started. In the 1930s, the Great Depression just devastated the American economy. I'm sure you have read and heard a lot about that. But to make sure that the elderly, the disabled, and the vulnerable would never face absolute poverty like that again, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act of 1935. Now, this act wasn't just for retirement. It includes unemployment insurance, aid for blind and disabled, and support for dependent children. Now, the first recipient was a legal secretary named Ida May Fuller. She retired in late 1939 after working just 3 years under the new program. She paid a grand total of $24.75 into the system. And her very first check in January 1940, $22.54. She pretty much made back her money on that first monthly check, right? Now, she lived till age 100, which of course was very rare back then. But because of that, she ended up collecting $22,888 in benefits. Now, you might say, how is that possible? Right? She put in $24 and she gets $22,000 out. Is that what's going on and why Social Security is going under? Well, it's one of the reasons probably, but let's go into how Social Security is actually funded first and foremost. So it's funded probably by you through your payroll taxes if you're working. Everybody knows what's going on with payroll tax. You get your pay stub, you see that Social Security line, that is you paying into Social Security. Current workers pay for current retirees or beneficiaries. Now, you might say, okay, so how do I know if I qualified for these benefits at all? You have to look at credits, and you need 40 credits to qualify. Now, credits are kind of confusing. So let's say it's about 10 years worth of work to qualify. Once you figure out if you qualify, then you say, how do I get payout? Like, what are these different ages? I don't understand. And it's very confusing. So I totally get it. Let's go through it in a general sense. So the earliest you can take Social Security is age 62. You are claiming it early. And by doing that, your monthly check is going to take a permanent haircut. Full retirement age for a lot of people now is age 67. I'll show you where to go so you can double check what your full retirement age is, but let's just say it's 67 in this case. That way, at age 67, once you hit your full retirement age, you are going to get 100% of your calculated benefits. Now, let's say you say, I don't need it yet. I'm still working or whatever it is. I want to delay it. The latest you can take it is age 70. And by delaying it, you're going to get a massive permanent bonus to your monthly payouts. Now, of course, you can take it anytime in there. You don't have to wait for those ages. So you could take it at 64 and still get a haircut, but not quite as bad as if you had taken it at 62, or you could take it at 69 and not get quite as big of a bonus as you would have if you waited till 70. Make sense? Okay, so you might say, well, how is the benefit even determined? It's determined by a formula called AIME, AIME, Average Index Monthly Earnings. Government looks at your highest 35 years of earnings, adjusts them for inflation, and calculates out your check. Now, the money doesn't just sit in a vault for you. They don't take your Social Security appointment and say, here's your individualized fund. It's going to go into two dedicated funds, kind of a pool. And one of them is going to be for old age and survivor insurance, and the other is for disability insurance. By law, these funds have to be invested at ultra low risk. So they're using a lot of US Treasuries, probably very short term US Treasuries, and they're not getting a lot of rate of return. This is one of the things that people are highlighting and saying maybe we should invest this in, I don't know, the S&P 500 or something. And that would take legislative action to change that. That is a possible solution, though. So you might say, okay, so if the system works so smoothly, why is everybody worried? And it's really comes down to basic math and demographics, not politics. So when Social Security started, there were multiple workers paying into the system for every single retiree drawing benefits. But today we're facing a massive demographic shift. First and foremost, the baby boomer generation, which is a huge generation, as you know, is retiring by the by the numbers, by very high numbers. Second is the average life expectancy has climbed significantly since the 1930s. So Ida Mae was kind of a unicorn by, living till age 100. A lot of people didn't do that. Now people are taking benefits for 35, 40 years. The system really wasn't built for that. They should have thought about that, but it wasn't really built for that. The third thing is that birth rates have steadily declined over the years. So the result is the ratio of workers to beneficiaries is shrinking rapidly. We have fewer people contributing to the system for every individual taking a benefit out. It's putting a historic strain on the system. And because of this strain, current projections show that, roughly by 2035, you might have heard 2032, it's scary. Let's just put it that way. The trust fund reserves could be depleted by then. Now, let's be very clear. When they say depleted, it does not mean that Social Security is going to go to zero for everybody. Nobody's going to get their benefit. Even if Congress did absolutely nothing, ongoing payroll taxes would cover the vast majority of promised benefits. But nobody wants their benefits cut, right? So how do we fix this? Well, here's a couple possible ways that it could be fixed. There's a lot of other options out there as well. One is adjusting the revenue. So you could increase the payroll tax rates, which nobody wants to do, right? Or you could lift the cap on the taxable wage base. So that's currently at $176,100 here in 2026. Anyone who makes more than that doesn't pay Social Security tax on those extra earnings. So if you make $190,000, that $15,000, let's say, isn't getting Social Security tax paid on them. If you take that off and change that, it would inject a massive cash into the fund. Another thing that they could do is adjust the benefits. So they could gradually raise the full retirement age past age 67. They could tweak the benefit formula for higher wage earners. They could adjust the annual cost of living adjustment, which sits around about 2.6% on average annually. It's most likely going to be a combination of a lot of different things, some of these, some of that, put it all together. But all of this is going to require legislation action, which, everybody's going to roll their eyes because that doesn't happen that often, to be frank. I don't think that's a political take. I think that's just a realistic take. So what does that mean for you? It means that Social Security is probably going to be there in some form or fashion for you. It was never meant to be your entire retirement plan, and it's designed to only replace a portion of your income. Do I think it will still be there to replace a portion of your income? Yeah, I do. But the smartest thing you can do right now is build your own personal safety net. Don't rely on Social Security. So what does that mean? That might mean investing in your 401k, funding an IRA or a Roth or a brokerage account, building up your personal savings. If you're doing that already, maybe it's upping that level. It depends on your circumstance and what combination makes sense for you. But that is really how you're going to get past this fear, is that you've got to take it in your own hands and do what you need to do for you. So you might say, how do I even know what my benefit's going to be, Lisa? You're going to go to the website ssa.gov, make an account, and look at your actual estimated benefits so you can plan accurately. And I would suggest to go in there every year to see how it changes, because it will change, hopefully going up, right? So my question to you, because I end these a lot with a question for you to think about, is how are you currently balancing Social Security in your retirement plans, and how are you taking your power back so you don't have to worry about Social Security benefits lowering? All right. Think that one through. That's important. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and some good information. Social Security is very, very complicated and people get very confused about it. So rewatch this video if you need to, as many times as you need. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be safe, be strong, be kind to one another, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.